right? I should call you Siama. So Siama,
Yes,
tell me, how did you become a school teacher in America?
yes, like everyone have their journey. I had mine. I got here when in 2013 at 10th grade. And then from there, I get my high school diploma. I attend high school 10, 11, 12, and I get diploma by the grace of God. And after that, I go to college in majoring in math and minoring in education and TESOL, which is teaching English for speaking another language, like in, other than English. That's what I minor in. After that, that's how I become a high school math teacher. Now I am teaching high school kids 9 through 12.
So from what grade did you start your education in the US?
10th grade.
Oh, okay. So please tell us some of your academic challenges in high school. How did you overcome your academic challenges?
Yes, like we all know that where I came from in Burma was not like it's not a big city. I came from a small village where education wasn't the first prioritized. So when I got here, mainly reading was so difficult. When I was attending 12th grade in here, in the US, they always do like where am I standing at, like when I'm 12th grade, where is my reading level? Like they always have a test, and then when I took that test, my reading level was 6th grade, and then that was around December, and then the school was going to be end on June, and I only have like a few months to catch. And when I know that, that really made me think about myself. Do I want to give up or do I want to continue? And then I decided to continue, and from there on, I did. I read as soon as I wake up. I read like three passage in the morning. As soon as I wake up, I read, and then I try like in here. They, like, I'm sure you guys heard of it, like SAT, ACT, where the college entrance. I try, like there's 10 question, and I believe it's like four passage or five passage it's time. So in one passage, we only can spend like 8 minutes, and then there's 10 questions. So I try in 8 minutes, I try to get correct answers like 7 out of 10. And then by doing that, I think by doing that, by the grace of God, I passed the reading, and that's how I get my high school standard diploma. And when I tell a story now, it seems easy, but when I was like that time in 2016, I was so stressed. I was so stressed. I do not believe myself that I would graduate. So I didn't even attend to senior picture. That's how I do not believe myself. Like I'm I don't think I'm going to graduate. So that's how I did not believe myself. But still, I try my best, and I somehow get a standard diploma.
So you took SAT or ACT?
I took ACT for my standard diploma, and I took SAT for my college application.
Okay, can you tell us the difference between SAT and ACT? I know there's a little bit different, and ACT is more like, they more focus on science. Is it
Yeah,
true?
ACT is, yes, they have science, but SAT they doesn't have science. Only only writing, reading, English language, which is like grammar, and then math. And then in SAT there is like multiple choice math, and there's another way you can use calculator. There's a calculator one and non-calculator one for
So
SAT.
how did you prepare your SAT and ACT? And which part of SAT or ACT is the most challenging for you?
For ACT, like I said, I was like I didn't pass my reading, so I focus on reading by I use Khan Academy. I don't know if you guys heard of it. It's like a website. It's a free. There I read every single day. It's free. I can also send through Siapyang, and then you guys can like practice reading on it. I use that for my Khan Academy. For my ACT reading, and then for my SAT, the way I prepare for I took twice. When I took once, I like they have certain number to accept in college, and where I'm applying for my university, they accept above 1,000 in SAT. So I usually spend like 1 hour or 2 hour on my only reading. I like I even though I don't understand nothing, I try to read it. I try to manage on my time, and like it took me about a year every single day, 1 hour to get to 1,000, like to get to where university level. So I graduated in 2016, and I didn't go to college or anywhere 2017, and I start my university in 2018. So a year I prepare for myself.
So before we move on to your college experience, let's go back to your high school experience. During your high school, did you work part-time?
Yes, I work part-time. My 11 and 12, I work as cleaning. I clean bank. Like afternoon when I go home, I like from 5 to 8 or 5 to 9, I go and clean the bank. So
So
I
how
work
did you
part-time.
manage your time?
Like I so when I go to school, when I have classes where like elective classes where they don't really require much, I did my over there. I did all my homeworks, and as soon as I go home, I did all my homeworks, and then I go to work. If I didn't finish my homework, I come back and finish everything that I'm supposed to. And it was like right now saying it, it's easy, but at that time was struggling because we just getting here. I don't have car. Sometimes I have to go by bus, and then it took like 2 hours to get to from my house to the job, and from the where I work to my house. So it's like it's a struggling.
Since you started your education from high school junior, I know you struggle with the language. You had the language barrier. So how did you overcome your language barriers in high school?
The way I think the way I learned English was by, I will be honest, like I by watching Korean drama, by
Like
watching
subtitles?
subtitles. And then when I
Yeah.
watch it, the first time I watch it, I won't understand anything at all. And then, but by watching it, I'll memorize the word, I'll memorize the spelling. And then by then I'll go to the dictionary. I have dictionary on my cell phone, and then I memorize it, and then that's how I mainly learn my English. And then the speaking and then the listening, of course, come from like from teachers, from peers. But in order to get academic vocabulary, that's how I learned my English, like mainly, not
Apart from your
cartoon.
language barrier, did you have any other academic challenges during your high school?
Yes, because like I was like kind of like the first generation. I don't know what's going on when I was senior. I don't know where to order my, like there's a lot of challenges. Like one funny thing was when we get here, we don't know where to get lunch. We know nothing. And then we speak like broken English. Nobody understand. And it was so challenging. And then especially I have to work. It was like academically and financially, and we don't have car. So it was like like challenges surrounding. And then I'm kind of the first generation who gets in here, and I don't know about how to apply scholarship. I don't know about FAFSA. and I don't know which college is good. I don't even know how to write a paragraph. I don't even know how to apply for anything. So it was like a challenging, and I have to um seek help, or I won't go anywhere, something like that. So it's a big challenge.
Yeah, I understand. Because of your language barrier or because of your ethnic background, have you ever had experience like bullying during your high school?
No, yeah, fortunately never. Because maybe I don't talk to nobody and nobody ever pick on me. So thank God I never like had bullied in my life. Like no, nobody ever bullied.
Cool. Okay, let's move on to the next questions. Please tell us about your college experience.
Yeah, college experience was crazy. It was so crazy because like oh you know that it's fun to say it right now, but like you all know that in here we have to go to school as well as we have to work. I work full time and I go to school full time, and it was a big mess, and it was so difficult. So first it's like a testimony where I go to school right now was when we get here as a refugee, like the refugee, they take care of us, like some of the community or some of the program take care of us, and one of the program is called Lutheran, and they usually take us to every university, and I believe in 10th grade or 11th grade. I don't quite recall which year I was, and when we went to the college that I'm like the university I'm attend, in my heart I was like wow I want to attend this university, but i I didn't dare to pray or I didn't dare to ask to my mom because number one I know that I will never be able to get in because of like how can I get in, I just get here at 10th grade, and then number two was because of financial, and thank God I get my diploma at 2016 and I applied 2017, and they did not accept me because I didn't have my ninth grade transcript. Like they all look for credits, and then I don't know, like one afternoon I just emailed the admins that saying that I came from Burma, I'm a refugee, and then because of that I don't have transcript, and then all of a sudden they accept me. I don't know how, why. And then I'm like, wow, this is so crazy. And then I started 2018, and and then it's like there's so many challenges. Like every semester, I cry all the time. Like I don't ever think that I'll pass, but I keep on passing, especially since like the language in English class, I always have struggles. One of my professor even wrote me on my paper like comments that Rosie, at this rate, I don't think you're going to pass my class. And then I'm like, I don't know what to do, and then like that kind of message, like I get a bunch of that kind of message. Rosie, I don't think you're going to be passed. Like if you don't change the way you write, like my grammar is awful. I think I know it, but when I wrote my paper, like it's past tense, present tense, future tense. I don't know how to keep like present tense, something like that. And then here the young, like in Burma, I remember we usually use a passive voice. We love using passive voice, but in here they don't like it. They want active. They want active like SOV, like subject verb object SVO. Sorry, and they're like, and then like a lot of challenge, and then my major, it was a lot of challenge too because like math we don't deal with numbers anymore, we deal with proof, like, and I have to write like papers why this is true statement, why this is correct and stuff. So it was like a big challenge, and then in one math class during summer, um I cry. I went to the restroom. I couldn't understand what is going on. It was probability class, probability stat. I cry, kneel down. I just kneel down. I cry, And then I pray. I'm like, God, I don't think I'm going to pass. What should I do? And that kind of scenarios, like it's every semester, so it's challenging.
Yeah, you know what? When I first came to Boston University as an international student, academic writing was one of my biggest challenge. So I can easily relate to your proud.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was not
every
easy.
international student has the academic writing challenge. Okay, so Rosie, you have gone through a lot of challenges and academic, difficulty. So and you did it. So I know you have more stories, so we would love to hear, more story about your academic journey, whatever you want to share with us, because it's going to be, inspiring to the Burmese students who are preparing to come to America.
Yes, yes, it's I think number one goal that really helped me was when I started school, I number one, I want to make sure I have clear vision. What grade do I want from this class? And then the probability stat class, I study like 3 hours a day, and nobody knows about that. My parents don't even know I study that much because they thought that I just go for fun. They don't know how struggle, how depressed I was. I was so depressed that one day I don't even know the traffic because I was so depressed. I just like passed the traffic. I never know I will pass be able to pass all my classes. But number one goal that helped me was I have faith. I believe that if God put me through this, I will be able to pass. And number two, I have daily goals where I set my goals. I'm going to study this much time, and then third was I have like future goals, like if I took like 4 classes in that semester, how much, which class do I want an A, which class do is easy, which class is more difficult, and if I have challenges, I spend more time on those class, and then for me it was usually math, and then I kept like writing, where we have to write like foreign pages and stuff. And then when that happens, my goal was if that paper due next week, I make sure I finish 3 days prior, and then I go to tutoring center, or I ask help to whoever want to read my paper and correct me. Like I'm like, I beg them, please read my paper. And then if you see like if you want me to use um like stronger vocabulary, help me. And I went to tutor, and then like sometimes the tutoring center don't even want to help me because my paper is a mess, and I have to find it. And then one thing I found out was every journey that I went through, if I seek help, there's one person who always helped me. And then how like the way I get is like if I seek help, God always prepare me for somebody like willing to help me, like with open heart, who doesn't just do for whatever, like because of they get paid like with their passion. So that's how I get gone through from 2018 to 2021.
Again, I have been there too, because I always, used to go to the writing center when I was in the university.
Yeah, it
Okay,
was
Rosie, you are a math teacher. So
yes.
how did you become a math teacher? Did you apply for it, or tell us about how did you become a math teacher in America?
Yes. So thank God. When I was in college, as my job, I work at a school, like where I'm working now as a para, which is helping students. And then sometimes when Burmese students, like the parent want to talk to the teachers, I translate for them and I help students. That's mainly my job. And then my principal knows that I finished school 2021, like last year summer, and she texted me and she's like, do you want to teach? And I'm like, yeah. And that's how I get a job.
Do you think you're
Yes.
really good at math?
I
Is
don't
it your
think so.
favorite subject?
Sorry.
Is it your favorite subject?
Yes, it is. It is. I feel like math is like challenging, and I think math is beautiful because we can like do many ways, but there's only one correct answers. So that's like I think I love math. But yeah, I think I
Yeah,
like math.
because the other day I interviewed one of the Burmese American second generations. She told me that she was terrible at math, and you are now another second generation and good at math, and who is also a math teacher in America. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think math is I don't think nobody's born with good at math. I think
Mhm.
math is like you have to be patient. You have to want to know about it, and then you are like eager to know what will happen to the answers, like sometimes
Yeah.
I have to write the same problem like 4 or 5 times to get the flow of it. And I guess that, and then after I get the flow, I just try on another problems, and then once I get that, it's like the same thing. Like it's just repeating itself.
Cool. And before we move on to the next questions, this time I would like to give this chance to our Burmese students from Burma, to ask you some questions. So, Elizabeth and David, if you have questions about her high school experience and also her college experience, you may ask her. You may ask how did she prepare her SAT or ACT, whatever you want to ask. Mhm.
Okay, I want to ask you first. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I'm David, and when you arrive to the US, what do you think the hardest subject uh, when you attend school?
Um, Everything was hard except for math. Like everything, everything is so difficult. Like writing, especially reading. In US, I don't know why they do that, but they time how much we can read in like 1 minute. And then I always fail that because I can when I look at the word, I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce that. So because of that, I have to think how to pronounce that in my head, number one. And then number two, I have to understand it. And number three, I even have to understand what they're asking me, like just reading doesn't make any sense. Like in here, like after reading, they test like your critical thinking. So it was like everything was so difficult for me, except for math, I think. Math was difficult, but math less words, more numbers. So I kind of comfortable in my math class when I was in high school as well.
And actually, me too. I really like math so much when I was grade 10, and I really enjoy it. So, how to like improve your math skills, something like how you prepare for exam, and how difficult is math in US. But actually, when I was grade 10, not I think it's not kind of difficult. And what do you think the difference between math in Burma and US? What
I
do
think
you,
the Yeah, I think the difference between math in Burma and in US is in I only gone like until grade 7, so I don't really recall how much there was. But the only thing I remember from Burma was memorizing every single thing. And then I don't even know I was good at math until I got here, So the difference is in here, there's no memorizing. Like you just have to know it. like in college too, like when I try to memorize, it doesn't work out. Just have to know the formula, know how to use it. I think that's the biggest difference in Burma and in US. Like I remember in Burma when I was like sixth or seventh grade, we call it like geometry tinchanit, right? And then there we just memorize the proving, like side by side, like SSS. In here, there's no memorization. Just have to like know it, how to do it, how to prove it. So I think that's the biggest challenge, like the biggest difference between how I did my math in Burma and how I did my math in here.
And one more thing, what kind of advice do you want to give students like us who want to study in the US? So what kind of advice do you want to give to us?
Yeah, first of all, I think you guys are really, really doing great. Now you're in Burma, but you have like you can have this kind of conversation. I think you guys are way better than even who stay here, like Burma people. Like, there's I'm so sorry to say that, but there's some Burma's people who stay in here doesn't know how to speak English. But you guys are in Burma and know how to speak English. You guys are like way better than us who stay in here. So I think the biggest advice that I will give to anyone is have clear goal and work on that goals, pray about that, believe about it, and then if it didn't happen, it doesn't meant to be yours. But if it's meant to be yours, it always you will be successful if you put your mind to it. Yeah, that's what I
Thank you
will.
so much.
And you can ask like any question.
Um, it's so nice to meet you. And like, first of all, I want to say your journey of your academy and also your academic education. It's really, really interesting. Um, you you show us that you have like you have gone through so much difficulties and also like how to overcome your problems. We have learned so much from you. And there's something I want to ask, like, what were your minors and your majors when you were in college? Yeah,
Yeah, my major is
yeah.
in math, like pure math, like just
Mhm.
math. Just math. And then my minor is education. Like education is like it's secondary education, where like focus on 9 to 12, how to teach them math,
Mhm.
or how like in general how to teach them, how to handle them. In my minor, we learn about how to do the classroom management
Mhm.
and how to like how classroom management, and then how to teach and how to have communication, something like that. And then I have two minors. That's my first minor. My second minor is TESOL, which is
So,
teaching English for other like second language people. Like I am learning English, but I will be teaching English to other people that who doesn't speak English. That's my second minor. Like there, we learn like linguistic, like in here in America, like in US, it's like subject, verb, object, and then in Burma, I think it's like it the other way around, something like that. So I have to compare language from like my mother tongue and English, and then how different it is, and then we have to study about like what words exist in Chin but doesn't exist in US. For example, like moi, uh, like English, they don't have it, so they call it Maui.
Maui.
Yeah, something like that. So I have to like study language. So that's my second minor. And then yeah, So my major is math, where I just prove stuff, like why quadratic equation is true, and then why like why x, like why, like just prove stuff, you know. Like there's a lot of stuff, like
Yeah.
just proving.
So you're studying how to teach, like especially how to teach, yeah, how to become a
Yes,
teacher. So,
yes.
okay. So you do your part-time job. So I just want to know, did you cover up your tuition fees in 1 year, like by working
um
part-time job? Yeah.
oh, no, I get grant, like the government pay for my college fees,
Mhm.
so I get grants. I don't have to pay for the tuition. I don't have to pay for the books. The only thing I have to pay for is my parking, and I have to
Okay.
pass all my classes.
Is
Uh,
it like a scholarship?
yeah, it's like a scholarship. Yes, we can call it a scholarship.
So how did
But
you get that?
I get that through my part-time job at school. So like it's like a blessing, you know. Where I when I get there, it's like another blessing, like it's like a testimony, because that grant is supposed to be for a person who only have AA, which is associate degree. And then when I apply for it, I have nothing.
Yeah.
And then that grant supposed to be like go for 5 years. And then when I apply for it, they already used 2 years. So that means it's left 3 years. And then there's no way I can finish my like 4 year degree in 3 years. But they still accept me. And then the question they asked me was, do you want to be a teacher? And I said yes. And then the question they asked me was, will you be able to finish in 3 years? And I just said yes. And then that's how I got accepted. And of course, I have to write papers and stuff, you know. Yes,
Thank you so much.
you are welcome.
One more question.
Yes.
And when you first arrived to the US, did you plan to become a teacher?
No, I never in my life I ever thought I would become a teacher. Um, and then it's when I was 12th grade. The reason, like you asked me, that's why I'll tell you. When I was in 12th grade, I was so lost. I finished like throughout my college year, I am focusing on how to pass my reading, how to get diploma. So I never thought what I want to become. One day I want to become nurse. One day I want to become a police. Another day I want to become a fireman. And I'm like, what is going on with me? And then I prayed during summer, and I said, God, I know you have a purpose on me with my life. What do you want to become? What you want me to become? And then after I submit my life, myself, to God, like God just opened doors for me that nobody can shut, you know. So that's how I become a teacher. And then I don't even know myself that I will be a good teacher, but when people when a few people see the way I teach, they said that you have passion when you teach. You love the kids, I think. And then that's when I said, oh, God knows me more than I do. I know myself, you know. I don't even know that I never thought I would become a teacher. Never. But that's how I become a teacher.
Thank you.
Sama Rosi, what a testimony. I'm so blessed by hearing your testimony.
Thank you.
I know God is moving in your life.
Yes,
I'm
I
so glad that you mentioned that God has a better purpose for you.
yes, and then
And
that's
you don't
when
know yourself, right, which one is the best for you. But when you
Mhm.
trust God and God gave you what is the best for you.
yes, and that's when I like until now I when I pray, I never ask for anything no more because I feel like God knows me more than I know myself. So I'm like, when I decide whatever to do, I was like, God, you know better than I know myself, and you have a plan for me. So you do whatever you want to do. And then I'm sure God have a plan for David and Elizabeth. And when like it is so difficult to submit to God for real. Like we have human pride, but when you do that, and when you totally 100% accept like God, what you want to become in my life, and then God will just move it. Like you will definitely